Hey, treasure hunters. Imagine having a penny that's actually worth, wait for it, $990,000. That's right, I'm talking about a 1965 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent coin that some people are willing to pay nearly $1 million for. Crazy, right? Well, hang tight because today, we're diving into what makes this penny so special, how to spot one, and why you could be sitting on a small fortune without even knowing it. Alright, so what's the big deal with this 1965 no-mint mark penny? Let's rewind a little. In 1965, the US Mint decided to shake things up. They were trying to prevent a coin shortage, so they took mint marks off pennies for a few years. Normally, Philadelphia minted pennies didn't have mint marks anyway, but during this period, no pennies anywhere had mint marks. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Not every 1965 penny is worth a ton of money. Most of them, in fact, are just regular pennies. But, in rare cases, a few of these pennies were made with errors, and that's where the value skyrockets. You're sifting through your spare change, and you spot a 1965 penny. Your heart skips a beat. Could this be it? The holy grail of pennies? Well, before you start planning your new yacht purchase, let's talk about what to look for. There are a few key features you should look for. First, check the condition. To fetch big bucks, these coins need to be in almost perfect shape, what collectors call mint state. That means no scratches, no dings, just a nice, shiny penny. Easier said than done, right? I mean, it's been in circulation for nearly 60 years, think of all the vending machines it's been through. Second, some of these high-value 1965 pennies have subtle errors, like doubling on the lettering or Lincoln's portrait. It's called a double die error, and it can add serious value. It's like a printing mistake, but on a coin. Imagine finding a book with a sentence repeated twice, except, instead of annoying, it's worth almost $1 million. Let me tell you a quick story. I once thought I had hit the jackpot with a 1965 penny I found in my grandpa's old coin jar. I was ready to book my dream vacation to Hawaii. I carefully polished it up, feeling like Indiana Jones with his latest find. I showed it to a coin expert, who took one look and said, "It's worth about 1 cent." Talk about a letdown. But hey, that's all part of the treasure hunt. Sometimes you win, sometimes you end up with just a nice story. Now, let's talk about that jaw-dropping value. Why is someone willing to pay $990,000 for a penny? 2 words, rarity and demand. Collectors are always on the lookout for unique items, and the 1965 no-mint mark penny with an error is the perfect storm of both. It's like the unicorn of pennies, and that price tag is what it can take to snag one. But here's a reality check: don't quit your day job just yet. Finding one of these pennies is like winning the coin lottery. But who knows? Maybe you're the lucky one with the next $1 million coin sitting in a jar on your dresser. So, here's the deal: go check your change jar, that stash in your car cup holder, or even dig through the couch cushions. You never know where your millionaire penny could be hiding. If you spot a 1965 penny, give it a close look. Even if it's not worth a fortune, you've just learned a thing or two about the fascinating world of coin collecting, and maybe even impressed your friends with your newfound knowledge. Hey, everyone! Imagine this: you're digging through your couch cushions or rummaging in an old drawer, and boom, you find a penny. Now, usually, that'd be worth, well, a penny. But what if I told you that one of those pennies, a 1967 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, could be worth close to $1 million? Yeah, I'm talking a whopping $985,000. In today's video, we're going to take a close look at why this little piece of copper has people so excited, what makes it valuable, and how you can figure out if you might be sitting on a treasure yourself. So stick around, this could be one of the most profitable 10 minutes of your day. Alright, first things first, why 1967? And what's with this whole no mint mark thing? Well, back in the 60s, there was a bit of a coin craze going on. People were snatching up coins left and right as collectibles. The US Mint wanted to make sure people weren't hoarding certain coins based on where they were minted, so in 1967, they skipped putting any mint marks on pennies. No D for Denver, no S for San Francisco, just a plain, unmarked coin. So, if you find a 1967 penny without a mint mark, that's completely normal. You haven't stumbled upon some rare error. Sorry. But, and here's the big but, not all 1967 pennies are worth a fortune. For one to hit the high-value jackpot, it needs to be in absolute top-notch condition. We're talking flawless, untouched, not a single scratch. This is where things get interesting. Now, let me tell you a little story to illustrate this point. A few years ago, I was organizing my old coin collection, you know, all those pennies I'd been meaning to roll up but never got around to. I was all excited thinking, I'm gonna be rich. Who knows, maybe I've got $1 million penny in here. I was holding them up to the light, checking each one, practically with a magnifying glass, only to find that most of them looked like they'd been through a lawnmower. So much for my dreams of retiring early on a penny collection. But hey, you never know until you look back to the 1967 penny. For this coin to reach anywhere near that $985,000 mark, it needs to be graded MS 67 or higher. MS stands for mint state, and 67 basically means super pristine. Imagine a penny that looks like it just rolled off the press yesterday, and that's what collectors are after. So, how do you know if your 1967 penny might be worth more than a gumball? Well, it's all about the grading. Professional grading services, like PCGS or NGC, specialize in evaluating coins and giving them an official grade. If you think you've got a good candidate, it might be worth sending it in to be graded. Just keep in mind that it can be a bit pricey, and there are no guarantees, but for nearly $1 million, it could be worth the risk. Now, let's talk market value. Why is this coin worth so much in the first place? It's all about rarity and condition. The better the condition and the harder it is to find a coin in that condition, the more valuable it becomes. And let's face it, not many 1967 pennies survived in pristine condition. Most of them have been tossed around, spent, or, in my case, forgotten about in some old coffee can. Collectors go absolutely wild for these coins because it's a piece of history. It's like holding a little time capsule from the 60s, a reminder of simpler times when a penny could still buy you something. And for those who want to complete their collections with the best of the best, they're willing to pay top dollar. So there you have it, the 1967 no-mint mark Lincoln penny. Most are worth about what you'd expect for a penny, but a select few in flawless, mint condition could be worth nearly $1 million. Now, will you find one? Maybe, maybe not. But there's only one way to find out. Start looking. Next time you're going through your loose change, don't just brush off those pennies. Give them a closer look. You never know when one could be a hidden gem. Imagine this, you're walking around, just minding your business, maybe grabbing a coffee. You get your change back, and there it is, a regular, beat-up old penny. But wait, could it be one of those pennies worth big money? Could that little piece of copper actually be worth, wait for it, $980,000? Yep, that's right, close to $1 million. And it could be hiding right in plain sight, like in the depths of your pocket or rattling around in the cup holder of your car. Today, we're diving into the 1968 D mint mark Lincoln cent and what makes this penny such a goldmine. Alright, let's get into it. So, the 1968 penny might look pretty average, right? It's a humble little 1-cent piece with Old Honest Abe right there on the front, a big D under the date showing it was minted in Denver, and that iconic Lincoln Memorial on the back. But here's the thing, not all 1968 D pennies are created equal. In fact, some are hiding a little secret, a kind of rarity that makes collectors drool and, more importantly, pay huge money. So, why the hype around this penny? It's all about condition, rarity, and a little dash of coin collector magic. Most of these pennies from 1968 are just regular pennies, worth, well, a penny. But there are a few that were struck in perfect condition and somehow managed to survive the last 50 years without getting scratched, scraped, or dirted. These rare gems are graded as MS 67 plus or even higher, which means mint state perfection. Let me tell you something funny. I once found myself holding on to a handful of pennies after my morning coffee run, just thinking, yeah, they're probably just worth a few cents. But then, I remembered stories of people finding rare coins and cashing in for thousands. So, I spent the next hour in my car, looking through every single penny. Didn't find a $980,000 penny, but hey, I found one that's worth a whole 50 cents. Win some, lose some, right? But back to the real prize here, the 1968 D penny worth almost $1 million. These gems are rare finds in pristine condition, meaning they've got no nicks, no discoloration, and practically look like they've just left the mint. If you're lucky enough to find one, it could make you a lot of money. Picture that, turning a penny into a small fortune. It sounds like something out of a dream, right? Now, you might be wondering, how do I know if I've got one of these rare coins? First off, check the condition. The shinier and more perfect it is, the better. Second, look for the little d under the year 1968 on the front. And third, consider getting it appraised or graded by a professional. Believe it or not, that little penny could be your ticket to some serious cash. So, the next time you're about to toss that pile of pennies onto the counter or leave them forgotten in a jar, maybe take a second look. Who knows? You might be holding on to a mini fortune. And if you're lucky enough to find one of these rare 1968 D pennies, don't be shy to celebrate, because let's be real, that's a once-in-a-lifetime find. Alright, coin hunters, thanks for hanging out with me today. If you're interested in more tips on finding treasure in your pocket change or want to hear about other coins worth serious money, make sure to hit that subscribe button and join our little community of everyday treasure hunters. Who knows? Next time, we might just help you strike it rich. Yes, you heard that right, a single penny, as in 1 cent, valued at a staggering $978,000. Today, we're diving deep into the 1970 D Lincoln penny. This little copper coin could be sitting in your pocket change, and you wouldn't even know it. By the end of this video, you'll know how to spot it and what makes it so valuable. But first, do me a quick favor, if you love money and want more tips on valuable coins, hit that subscribe button. You don't want to miss out on these treasures hiding in plain sight. Let's talk about the basics. The 1970 D Lincoln penny was minted in Denver, hence the D mark right below the date. Now, what's so special about it? I know you're thinking, it's just a penny, what could possibly make it worth close to $1 million? Great question. See, errors in coins make collectors go nuts. In the case of the 1970 D penny, there are a few specific things you want to look for. Fancy term, right? All it means is that some pennies from 1970 have the image on the front, or obverse, stamped twice. This creates a double vision effect on things like the date and the word liberty. If you spot this, you might have a winner. The higher the quality, the better the price. Coins that have been barely circulated, or even untouched, are worth way more. Imagine this coin is like your grandma's china, rarely used and looking brand new. Some 1970 D pennies have other tiny, unique imperfections that make them collectible. You don't need to know every single one, the key is to know that error coins are rare and hot commodities. Now, you're probably wondering, how did this even happen? Was someone just asleep at the mint? Honestly, these things happen all the time. Back then, it was a human process. So, even a little mix-up could create a 1 in a million piece. Let me tell you about the time I first got into this whole coin thing. I was cleaning out my junk drawer, you know, the one with old receipts, broken pens, and that odd collection of coins you never remember putting there. Well, as I was sifting through the pile, I came across a penny that looked different. I thought, this can't be anything special. But something told me to look it up. Long story short, it wasn't worth $1 million, but it was worth about $50. Not bad for a penny, right? After that, I was hooked, and here we are. Every time I look at my spare change now, I feel like Indiana Jones on a treasure hunt. So, what's the takeaway? Check your pennies, especially if they're from 1970 with a D mint mark. You never know, that coin sitting in your change jar might just be your ticket to a small fortune. And if you're wondering where to sell it, coin dealers and online auctions are good places to start, but you want to get it graded first. That way, you'll know just how valuable it really is. Bam, there's a penny worth nearly $1 million just sitting there. Yes, you heard that right, a little OL Lincoln penny, minted in 1980, could be valued at an eye-popping $973,000 today. Well, it's not. In today's video, we're diving into the mystery of the 1980 no-mint mark Lincoln penny. Why does this seemingly ordinary penny have such a staggering value? And how can you spot one yourself? Let's dig in. Alright, so let's break it down. First things first, what's with the no-mint mark thing? In most cases, coins made in Philadelphia don't have a mint mark. So, technically, having no mark isn't unusual for a penny from Philly. But this one's special. There are a few things that can really boost a coin's value, and this 1980 Lincoln penny is a perfect storm of those features. Here's the thing, in the coin collecting world, tiny differences can mean big money. This particular 1980 penny might not have a mint mark, but it's all about the condition, rarity, and, believe it or not, the story behind each one. Now, if you've got a penny with no mint mark that's in superb condition, and I mean not even a fingerprint, it could be worth some serious cash. Imagine this, it's like finding an old comic book in perfect condition. People go nuts over that stuff. Same goes for coins. Collectors and auction houses see an unblemished 1980 penny, and they're ready to throw down crazy amounts of money. You know, this reminds me of a time I found an old coin in my grandma's attic. I thought I'd hit the jackpot. I was daydreaming of Ferraris, beach vacations, you name it. I took it to a local coin dealer, all pumped up, only to find out it was worth a whole quarter. Hey, it was still more than a penny, right? But stories like mine are what keep people looking for that lucky find, and for some folks, it does happen. Just imagine, the grocery store cashier hands you change, and you unknowingly walk away with a penny that's worth more than some houses. If you're ready to go on a treasure hunt, here's what to look for. Grab any 1980 penny you find and start by checking for nothing. Yep, no mint mark. That's clue number one. Then, look at the overall condition. Are the edges crisp? Does Abe's face look sharp enough to cut glass? The more perfect it is, the more valuable it could be. The 1980 no mint mark penny becomes even more valuable if it's graded by a professional grading service. That's where the big bucks come into play. A professionally graded, flawless, no mint mark penny is what might just hit the jackpot. These pennies typically go through a bunch of collectors before they reach those big auctions, and each trade adds to their mystique. Okay, so how exactly does a penny become worth almost $1 million? Think of it like art. The rarer and more pristine, the higher the value. In the coin world, people aren't just buying metal, they're buying history, and in some cases, a status symbol. The record sale of one of these rare 1980 pennies was right around that $973,000 mark. The condition, rarity, and demand from serious collectors were all in perfect alignment for that one coin. Who knows, maybe there's another one out there waiting to be found. So, there you have it. The 1980 no mint mark Lincoln penny isn't just any ordinary coin. It's a hidden gem that could be worth more than most people's yearly salaries. So, before you toss that change in a jar or lose it in the couch cushions, take a second to check, you might be holding a fortune. Alright, here's a question for you. What if I told you that one tiny penny from 1985 could make you a millionaire? Sounds like a tall tale, right? But hang tight, because today, we're diving into the wild world of rare coins, specifically the 1985 D mint mark Lincoln cent, rumored to have a staggering value of $970,000 on the market. That's right, almost $1 million for a penny most of us would probably ignore if we found it in our couch cushions. So, grab a cup of coffee and maybe that jar of pennies collecting dust, because who knows, your ticket to wealth could be hiding right under your nose. Alright, so what makes this 1985 D penny so special? First off, let's break down that D mint mark. This mark, which you'll find right below the date, tells us the coin was minted in Denver. In 1985, the US Mint pumped out millions of these pennies, so why on earth would anyone pay almost $1 million for one? The answer lies in rarity and condition. Think of it like a vintage comic book, most are common, but a pristine one in perfect condition. That's worth a fortune. There's this thing called mint state condition, which basically means the coin is as close to brand new as possible, without a scratch or blemish. Coins like this, straight out of the mint, are extremely rare, especially with all the little details perfectly preserved. And when it comes to coins, details are everything. Imagine trying to sell a painting with a big scratch across it, not exactly high value. The same goes for coins. A 1985 D penny that's survived almost 4 decades in perfect shape. That's a jackpot. So why would someone pay almost $1 million for this penny? Simple, serious collectors are always on the hunt for that perfect specimen, and they're willing to pay top dollar for it. It's like the rare baseball card phenomenon, everyone wants that ultra-rare piece that nobody else has. And here's the kicker, a lot of these collectors are just regular folks like you and me who one day decided, hey, coins are kinda cool, and next thing you know, they're bidding 6 figures on a penny. Now, let me tell you a little story. A few years back, I actually stumbled on an old coin while cleaning out my car. I got all excited, thinking I'd found a rare penny worth big bucks. Spoiler alert, it was worth 1 cent. Not exactly life-changing. But that got me curious, so I started researching old coins, and wow, there are people out there making bank on these things. Imagine finding a 1985 D penny in mint condition. It'd be like finding gold in your junk drawer, and by the way, don't stress if you've already got a few nicks and scratches on your coins. There's still a market for those, just not at millionaire levels. Alright, folks, time to wrap it up. Who knew that a penny from 1985 could fetch close to $1 million? It just goes to show that hidden treasures are all around us, you just have to know where to look. So, before you cash in those spare coins at the bank, take a closer look. That penny in your pocket might just be your ticket to a new life. We're diving into a coin that could literally change your life. Imagine this, you're digging through an old change jar or that random drawer in your kitchen, and you stumble upon a simple, unassuming penny. Now, what if I told you that plain old penny could actually be worth close to a whopping $969,000? Yeah, you heard me right. This isn't monopoly money, I'm talking real cash. Today, we're talking about the legendary 1987 Lincoln penny with no mint mark. I'll explain why this little copper coin is worth so much, and why you need to check your spare change for it. So, if you're ready to learn a bit, maybe laugh a bit, and hopefully walk away richer, keep watching. Alright, so let's get into this mysterious penny. First off, what's the deal with the no mint mark? You'd think a missing mark is just a mistake or some kind of wear and tear, but actually, in the coin world, a missing mint mark can mean big money. Mint marks are little letters on coins that tell us where they were made, like P for Philadelphia, D for Denver, or S for San Francisco. But if you have a 1987 penny with no mint mark, that's when things get interesting. Here's where it gets a bit technical, but I promise to keep it simple. When a coin has no mint mark, it usually means it was made in Philadelphia. Now, most 1987 pennies with no mint mark aren't rare, but there are a few rare batches that make this specific coin valuable. It's kind of like those rare Pokemon cards or collector stamps, there are tons out there, but just a few super valuable ones. Now, here's a funny story, I actually found a 1987 penny in my couch cushions a few months ago. I got all excited and pulled out my magnifying glass, looking at it like some treasure hunter. But, sadly, it was just a regular one, no special mint mark situation. so back to the coin jar it went. But hey, that just goes to show you that these coins are still out there, hiding in plain sight. Let's talk about what sets this penny apart. Coins from Philadelphia are usually marked P, but for pennies, they skipped this and didn't add a mint mark at all. For some reason, this batch of 1987 pennies was minted a little differently, and that's why a select few are worth crazy money. And why are they worth $969,000? Supply and demand, my friends. There are coin collectors out there willing to pay big bucks for these rare finds. Imagine you find one of these coins and you're like, hey, I just need to pay for my Starbucks. But instead, you cash it in and bam, you've just funded your next vacation or even bought a house. Not bad for something that was just rattling around in your pocket, right? Here's what you need to look for. Grab a 1987 penny and check for that mint mark. If you don't see a P or D or S, it's worth a closer look. You'll want to make sure it's in good condition too. The better the condition, the more it could be worth. Oh, and don't forget to check it out under good light. No one wants to mistake a scratch for a mint mark. Also, here's a quick tip: if you don't find a valuable one today, don't worry. Keep a little jar for your finds, and maybe over time, you'll hit the jackpot. Alright, folks, that's all for today's treasure hunt. Remember, even the smallest coins can hold big value, so check your change jars, those couch cushions, or even the floor of your car. Who knows, your next adventure might just be in the bottom of your pocket. Then bam, you stumble upon a 1994 penny, and you think, it's just a penny, right? But wait. What if I told you that this one little coin could be worth up to $965,000? Yeah, you heard that right. Almost $1 million for a 1994 penny with no mint mark. So, if you're curious to know why this penny is worth so much, what makes it so special, and, most importantly, how you can spot one yourself, stick around. You're going to love this. So, let's get into it, the 1994 no mint mark Lincoln penny. Now, you might be wondering, what's the big deal with a penny that's missing its mint mark? Well, let's break it down. Usually, coins struck at the Philadelphia Mint have no mint mark, while coins from Denver get a little D stamped on them. But for a penny from 1994, the missing mint mark is actually a big deal because it signals an error. And when it comes to coin collecting, an error can mean big money. Coin collectors are like treasure hunters looking for unique, one-of-a-kind finds. And the 1994 penny without a mint mark is like the holy grail for them. Some people even think of it like finding a glitch in a video game, you know, that rare moment when something goes wrong, but you end up with a massive prize. The rarity of this penny, combined with its high demand, drives up the value like crazy. And when I say high demand, I mean people are willing to drop some serious cash to get their hands on one of these. I'm talking up to $965,000 for one little penny. That's enough to buy a house, or a few houses, depending on where you live. So, you might be thinking, how do I know if I have one of these bad boys? Well, here's where it gets interesting. First, take a close look at the year. 1994 is a must. Then, flip it over to the front side where Abraham Lincoln is hanging out. If you notice that there's no D or S mint mark under the date, you could be in for a treat, but heads up, don't just assume every 1994 penny with no mark is worth big bucks. It's got to be authenticated by a professional grading service. They'll check the quality of the coin, make sure it's legit, and assign it a grade. Coins with higher grades and less wear and tear are worth a lot more. Let me tell you a quick story. I used to have this old box of coins, pennies, quarters, nickels, you name it. And every once in a while, I'd go through it hoping I'd find something amazing. One night, I stayed up super late, convinced I was about to find the next $1 million coin. After hours of squinting at pennies with a magnifying glass, I realized I'd just found about 27 cents and a lot of lost time. Moral of the story: sometimes, patience and persistence pay off in a big way. So keep searching, who knows? You could be sitting on a small fortune without even realizing it. Alright, folks, that's the scoop on the 1994 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny and why it's worth almost $1 million. Pretty amazing, right? So next time you're handling some change, take a closer look, because you never know what treasures might be hiding right in front of you. Just a simple, overlooked penny, right? Wrong. Because that penny, specifically the 1995 Lincoln cent, could actually be worth, wait for it, $961,000. Yeah, you heard that right, nearly $1 million for a single cent. You might just be holding on to a gold mine disguised as a penny. So today, we're diving into this coin's amazing story. By the end of this video, you'll know why people are willing to shell out so much cash for a 1995 penny, how to spot the valuable ones, and how to check if you've got a jackpot in your pocket. Let's get into it. Alright, so here's the deal with the 1995 penny. Now, first, you might be wondering, why is this particular penny so valuable? I mean, I've got a ton of pennies in my car, right? Well, it's all about rarity, condition, and a touch of magic from the Denver Mint, aka the D, in 1995. The 1995 penny is fascinating because of its scarcity and unique quirks. D stands for Denver, where this penny was minted. Now, most pennies from the Denver Mint that year are just regular old pennies. But some of them have little imperfections that make them extra rare. These are often due to minting errors or small misprints, and serious collectors will pay big money to get their hands on one. Quick funny story here: when I first heard about valuable pennies, I actually spent a whole afternoon digging through a jar of coins on my dresser, looking for treasure. Spoiler alert, I found about 47 pennies and 0 treasures. But hey, we live and learn, right? Condition plays a huge role here. If you've got a 1995 penny that's all worn out from rattling around in your wallet for years, it's not exactly a jackpot. But if you have one in great condition, like it's barely been touched, you're looking at serious value. Grading coins is key here. There's this scale from 1 to 70, where 70 is basically a flawless coin. If your 1995 penny is, let's say, in the high 60s, you're definitely looking at a pretty penny, pun totally intended. Now, you're probably wondering, where does that giant price tag come from? Well, it's because of demand, rarity, and, honestly, the dedication of coin collectors. Imagine a bidding war, a handful of collectors who need that coin to complete their set. One collector's need becomes another's $1 million payday. And yes, even pennies can end up at auction houses where prices skyrocket. I mean, it's a strange world, but if people are willing to drop that kind of cash on a penny, who am I to judge? Alright, so what should you do? First, grab those coin jars, your spare change, whatever you've got lying around, and take a closer look at your 1995 pennies. Remember, you're looking for the D mark, a pristine shine, and any oddities that might make it unique. This could be the easiest treasure hunt ever, and here's a little advice: you can take your finds to a local coin dealer, get them appraised, or even look up online marketplaces to get an idea of what collectors might pay for them. Who knows, you might just hit the jackpot. You're rifling through your pocket change, just casually looking for a few coins for the parking meter, and you come across a 2017 penny. You're about to toss it back into your wallet, thinking, hey, it's just a penny. But what if I told you that penny could be worth close to $1 million? Yep, you heard that right, $955,000. I'll tell you everything you need to know about this rare coin, why it's so valuable, and how you might just have one hiding in plain sight. Alright, let's get into it. The 2017 Lincoln penny, minted in Denver, doesn't exactly scream fortune. It's part of the regular circulation, meaning millions were made. So, what makes it so special that one of these is valued at nearly $1 million? Well, it all comes down to errors. You see, in the coin world, errors are like little golden tickets. When a coin is misstruck, has a unique flaw, or was accidentally given the wrong finish, collectors go nuts for it. For this 2017 penny, we're talking about a very specific type of error that makes it incredibly rare. Some pennies from 2017 have what's called a double die error, where part of the design is stamped twice. These errors are usually super subtle, maybe the lettering is a little fuzzy, or Lincoln's profile looks a bit off. But on a double die coin, those little quirks can send the value skyrocketing. There's also a rumor that a few of these pennies were struck with an old die or had some other unnoticed flaw that made them ultra rare. Now, here's a funny story. A while back, I was on a trip, just your average weekend getaway. And of course, I'm hitting up a vending machine because road trips require snacks, right? I get a bunch of pennies back, and without thinking, I just stuff them into my wallet. But later, I remembered something I'd read about rare pennies, so I decided to take a quick look. No $1,000,000 penny, but I did find a 1960s penny that was worth a few bucks. Not life-changing, but hey, snacks for next time were covered. So, now I never look at my change the same way. Lesson learned, never underestimate those pennies, people. Alright, back to our 2017 D-Star. How can you tell if you have a valuable one? You'll need a magnifying glass or a loupe because the details can be very tiny. Look closely at Lincoln's profile, especially his ear and the words, "In God We Trust." If they look slightly doubled or have a strange shadow effect, you might have a double die. And remember, condition matters. A mint condition error coin is like finding a diamond among pebbles. So, the next time you come across a 2017 D penny, don't just toss it aside. Give it a good, hard look. It might be the jackpot you didn't know you were carrying around in your pocket. And hey, if you find one, let me know in the comments. Imagine what you could do with $955,000, a new house, an epic vacation, or just the best coin collection in the world. Before you go, hit that subscribe button and tap the bell icon to keep getting tips on valuable coins, ways to make money from your change, and strategies for hunting down those hidden treasures. You never know, the next coin we talk about might be sitting in your pocket right now. Thanks for watching, and happy hunting.